When I first started learning Python, I used to keep mixing list and tuples. And if that's you, don't worry. Today's video will make your life a little easier. Hello, learners. Welcome to your learning hub, The Learning Loop. I am Swati Sharma, and this is the 12th video of my beginner friendly Python course series. If you are joining me for the first time, thank you for dropping by. And if you haven't checked out my previous videos yet, I will highly recommend you to go back and check those out so you are all caught up. In today's video, we will explore the third sequence data type tuples. We will see how you can create tuples and how you can access and extract elements from tuples. And we will also go through some commonly used functions and methods that work with tuples. And stay tuned till the end because we will also explore the differences between list and tuple so that you never mix them up. So, without a further ado, let's dive in. A tuple is a sequence data type just like list, but unlike list, tuples are immutable, which means once created, you cannot change or modify them. Since it's a sequence data type, the values inside tuple are arranged in an ordered way, which means each value has a specific position or index number, just like in list. Creating or declaring a tuple is very much similar to creating a list. The only difference is instead of using a square bracket, we would use round brackets. Let's explore this with an example. In my example, I will use a variable name my tuple and I will declare some integers inside this tuple, and in order to create a tuple we will use the round brackets instead of the square brackets, and that's there. And now I can declare the variables inside the tuple. So in my case I have declared 10, 20, 30, 40, and I'm just gonna run it. And now let's see the data type of the variable tuple. For data type, we will use the command type, and in the brackets, either you can give the value for which you want to check the data type, or you can type in the variable. So I will write my tuple, that's my variable, run it, and you can see the class for this particular, or the data type for this particular variable is tuple. We can also store the mix of data types in tuple. So I will say tuple underscore example 2, and I'll try and give the mix of data types this time. Let's say round brackets, and I'll say 10, and let's say some Python, and let's say 15.3. Even if you want to give some complex number, you can run it. It's been run, and now let's check the data type for this particular variable as well, which is tuple example 2. Let's run it, and you can see the data type is tuple. It's very much similar to the list, as you can see. The only difference is instead of using square brackets, we would be using the round brackets. However, there is an alternate way to declare tuples as well. You can declare a tuple even without using a bracket. Let's say tuple my underscore tuple, and then I would write without brackets, because that's what we are doing, is equal to, and then I'm writing 10, 20, 40, and say 60, whatever you want to give. In the same code box, I'm writing to print the type of this variable once I have declared it. Rather than having a different box, I will be using the same code box and want to run both the commands at the same time. And you can do that, no issues. So my tuple, and it is giving me the option to autofill, so I'm gonna use that. Right, you can see I have not used any brackets. However, I'm still trying to save the multiple values inside the single variable without the brackets. And now if I run it, it ran without any issues, and you can see the class or the data type here is tuple. Let's also try and print my variable and see how the output comes out for the variable that we have declared without the brackets. And you can see the Python has added round brackets on its own. So by default, if you declare multiple values inside a single variable, it would be declared as a tuple. So if you do not give any brackets and try and store multiple values inside a single variable, the Python will recognize it as a tuple. If you want to declare the list, you have to make sure that you specify the square brackets, otherwise it would be created as a tuple. If you try and create a single value tuple, you can do that as well. Let's first take an example. Name is equal to, and I give Swati. And we know this is a string data type, because this is how we declare a string data type. Variable name on the left side and the value on the right side, and that's what we did. And let's also run it and check that out. I will say type and write name, that's my variable, and run it, and you can see it says string. What if, because I just told you that we can create tuples using the round brackets. So let's say name and say round brackets. And I now will give this name in the round brackets. And then I will say print, and I will try and check the type. In Google Colab, you would also get the options to autocomplete using a tab. Right now I'm getting that. So if I put the tab, it is going to autofill that. So if Google Colab has detected exactly what you are intended to write, you can just hit tab, save your time, and run that command. While you are learning Python, I would suggest to manually type all the commands so that you remember each and everything that you're typing. So I'm gonna run this, and you can see it's still string, because even with the round brackets, without a comma, it will take the single value as a string. So in order to tell Python that we are trying to declare a tuple, a single value tuple, we have to put a comma after that single value. Let's say name, and I'll write tuple, and you can do it without or with brackets, and both works. And I will write Swati, and I would put comma here, and I'm going to print name underscore, and it is giving me the example, the options. So I'm gonna hit enter, run, and you can see, okay, I want to print the type as well. So let me just do print type and name tuple. I'm just gonna hit tab, complete it. And now you can see it has been declared as a tuple. So for a single value tuple, it is very, very important that after the value you give a comma so that the data type can be recognized as tuple. Again, you can do this using the round brackets as well. We will write name tuple round brackets. And then I'm going to declare it using round bracket, and then I'm going to write the name Swati. And very important that we need to give the comma, otherwise it will take that type as string. So I'm now going to print type name tuple round brackets, and going to close the brackets, hit enter, and you can see this has been declared as tuple. Now that we have seen how you can create tuples, now we will explore how you can access elements or extract elements from the tuple. It's very much similar to what we did in strings or list. So I'm going to use same example, my tuple 10, 20, 30, 40. And the indexing works the same ways as it did in list or strings. For positive indexing, the very first element starts with the index 0. In my example, my tuple, 10 is at 0, 20 is at 1, 30 is at 2, and 40 is at 4. For the negative indexing, the indexing would start with -1. And in our example, my tuple, my 40 would be at -1, 30 would be at -2, 20, it would be at -3, with 10 at -4. If I want to access the element from my tuple variable, it's very similar to strings and lists. I will write my tuple square brackets, and let's say I want to extract 10, I will write 0 here and just run it, and you can see it extracted 10. As we have discussed slicing as well previously, it's again very much similar to how that works in tuples as well. Let's say I want to extract 20 and 30 from my tuple. So I will write my tuple, my underscore tuple, that's my variable, and then the square brackets, and the very first element in this would be the start index. In our case, as you can see, 10 is at 0, 20 is at 1, 30 is at 2, and 4 is at 3, and I want to extract 20 and 30. My start index would be the index from where I want to start including characters, and in our case it would be 1, and then colon stop index. Now it should be index number of the element that I want to include and do the +1. In our case 30 is at index 2, so +1, my stop index would be 3, because whatever is at the stop index, that's 40, would not be included in our outputs. So just for your ease, what you can do is check the element that you want to include in your output, check the index number of that element and do the +1 to that index number. In our case, 30 was at index number 2, so we just added +1 and write the stop index as 3. The step, it's a default 1 because it is 20 step 1 30. So we want to extract 20 and 30. So in a 20 one step, it is going to 30. In our case, it is just step 1. Either I can write :1, and 1 is a default value for a step, so I'm gonna skip that and just write this, and it still works. So I run it, and you can see I was able to extract 20 and 30. Alright, before we move forward, I would be going through one mini exercise. I would like you guys to pause the video and would like you to write a code to extract 20 from my tuple using positive indexing, negative indexing, as well as slicing. So I want you to write all three ways, that's positive indexing, negative indexing, and slicing code to extract 20 from the variable my tuple that's shown on my screen. Once you're done with your exercise, next thing we would explore is the solution for this exercise, extracting 20 using positive, negative indexing as well as slicing. I hope you guys attempted the mini exercise, and now we are going to explore the solution to that exercise, where I ask you guys to extract 20 from the variable my tuple. The first one is using the positive indexing. In our case, the 20, if we go by the indexing, 10 is at 0, 20 is at 1. In order to extract 20 using positive indexing, I would write my tuple and then give square brackets, and I will give the index number of the value that I want to extract. In our case, we want to extract 20 and the index number would be 1. And I would run it and I can see the 20 has been extracted or 20 has been accessed. The second is negative indexing. Again, now let's explore the negative indexing. 40 is at -1, 30 is at -2, 20 is at -3. So with negative indexing, I would write my underscore tuple and I would write the index number of 20 again, but this time I would write the negative index -3. That's the index number if I use the negative indexing for 20, and I would run it. You can see we again got the element or value 20 when I write the negative indexing. The next one was slicing, which is again really easy again. I would write my tuple, square brackets. The first we would write the index number from where I want to start including the elements. In our case, we want to only include 20. So we would see the index number of 20. In our case, it is 1. So I will write the start index as 1. Now, the stop index. The stop index should be the last element that you want to include, the index number of that particular element. You need to check that and add +1 to that index number. In our case, we only wanted to extract 20. So the start index is 1. And as I want to only include 20, the stop index, again, that's the only element I want to include. The index number is 1. So I would add +1 to that. The stop index would be 2. Step, we can skip it, or you can write 1, or even if you write any other value, because the stop index is a 2, it would not matter. So I can write 1:2, run it, and you can see I got the output 20 as tuple. Now that we have understood the basics of tuple, let's go over one more interesting topic, that's packing and unpacking. Packing is a process of combining multiple values inside a single variable. In Python, when you usually declare multiple values in a single variable, it automatically packs them into a tuple. Usually when you declare them without the brackets, it automatically packs them into a tuple. Unpacking is the reverse of packing. It is the way of extracting that values from that particular variable and assigning them to multiple variables, all the values to multiple variables in a single step. Let's explore this with an example. Let's declare a variable person and let's try and declare multiple values in it. Swati 32 and let's say engineer. And let's also do print person, and I would also like to see the type. We have already seen that previously. Let's see that again, and you would see that Python would automatically pack these values inside a tuple, automatically inside a tuple. I have not used any round brackets or anything, but you can see these values has been packed inside a tuple. Let's say I want to assign these values to multiple variables. Let's say I want to store the very first element, that's Swati, as a name variable, 32 as age, engineer as, let's say, profession. These are the different variables that I want to use. So what I can do is I can write the variable names, name, and the second one is age, then the profession, and I would write is equal to person. And as you can see the suggestion, that's exactly what we are going to do. I will write print. I'm going to print the name variable, then print age, and then I would do print profession. I'm going to run it, and you can see it has taken the exact values that we have declared inside that tuple person and assigned different variables name or values to different variables. Swati has been assigned to name variable, 32 has been assigned to age variable, engineer has been assigned to the profession variable. That's unpacking. What it did, we have 3 values inside this person tuple, and then we assign 3 variables on the left. As we know, on the left we would variable names, and on the right you would have the values. Now the person, that's a tuple, has 3 values in it, and on the left we declared 3 variables, and it automatically assigned those variable names with the values that we have inside the tuple. You have to make sure the number of values on the right should match number of the values on the left. If that's a mismatch, then you would get an error. Let's say, let's do code. Write name, comma, let's say name 1, comma, age 1, and I'm not declaring anything with profession, and I just write is equal to person. If I try and run it, you can see that I'm getting a type error, and it says too many values to unpack, which means there were 3 values to unpack. I have only declared 2, so that's why an error. Even if you give more values on the right, more values on the left, even then it will give this type error. You have to make sure the number of variables and number of values in tuple match. And let's say you have no idea how many values you have in that tuple, and you just want to extract maybe first and the last value, or maybe first, second, and maybe second, last, and last value, or something like that. But you don't know exact specific number, then you can use an asterisk for the middle values, and it will pack all the middle values inside that particular variable name as a list. Let's see that with an example. Let's say I write persons, and I say, or I write person, and I write Swati, or I will say person underscore 2, then I write 32, then I say 13.4, let's say 89, let's say I say cooking, and I then say engineer. Just not going to do that, and let's put few more values here, maybe driving, something like that. And I only want to extract the name, the second value, that's age, then maybe hobby, and then the profession. So how we are going to do that, and I don't want any rest of the values. How we can do that, we would write name, comma, age, comma, star, other, comma, if you just keep it at that, it will take all the other values. Or if you want to have last and second last value, you can write hobby, and then let's write hobby, and then let's write profession, then is equal to person underscore 2, and then print everything. And you can see it has printed everything. It taken the name, taken the age to 32, and between values, these values, it has, I'm sorry, not this, but these values has been packed inside a list. How I know it's a list? You can see it is packed inside a square bracket. So if that's a square bracket, that's a list. If it's a round bracket, which we saw above, that's a tuple. And then it packed hobby, and it also packed profession. If I do not know anything and I just wanted to extract name and age, I'm just gonna take care of this and I print this. You can see it put Swati into name, 32 into age, and everything else into a list. So you can use asterisk sign and then give the variable name, and if you're going to pack the rest of the values you don't know, the number of values, everything into a list. Now we will explore some of the methods or functions that are commonly used with tuples. But before that, I will also let you know how you can check for any data type which built-in functions or methods are supported with that data type, because that's really important and that would help you in future to see which function or method is supported with any data type that you're interested in. So let's explore that with an example. Right? Let's say I want to explore what functions I can use with tuples, because that's what we are diving into. So I can use the function dir and write tuple. You can directly run this, or you can even use the print command with it. You can see all the built-in functions. It has listed all the built-in functions that you can use with the tuple. You can also use print command and then write dir and then tuple. Yep. And you can see all the functions that you can use with this data type tuple. You can explore any other data type as well, like dir, let's say list. It will give you the whole list of the built-in functions that you can use with list. Let's say you want to check for int, that's integer. It gives all the built-in functions that you can use with the int. Now you might ask, now that I got the list, how would I know what to do with this function, or what this function exactly do, or how this function can help me? All you need to do is, let's say, copy this, or this index. I'm just gonna delete this, I don't need it. And I can write help and then let's say tuple and then dot and whatever function you want to check, let's say index. It says return first index of the value, and it also tells it raises a value error if the value is not present. Let's explore another example. Let's say count. I want to see it for the count built-in function, and gives what it does. It return number of occurrences of value. Let's explore these both. Let's say I declare my tuple, and you should know that tuple can also have duplicate values, so we will this time declare a few duplicate values as well. Okay, let's say this is my tuple. I'm gonna declare it, and let's see my tuple, and let's say I want to see the index number of 10. Now it will return the index number of the very first occurrence. In our case, it should be 0. And you can see it's 0 because 10 is at a later stage as well, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, at 5th index as well. But it will return the value of the very first occurrence of that particular value that we have given inside. Let's say I want to see it for 23, and it is going to give me the index number for that particular value. We have only one occurrence, so it is giving 3. Another function that we just saw was the count. Let's say I want to see how many times that value has appeared, and it is, yes, the 10 should be 2. It is given 2. Let's check for any other number. Let's say for 30, that is only occurring for one time. You can, dot count, that is occurring only one time, so the value should be 1 here. Other few methods that you can use, and which you can use with list as well, is length. You can check length for any data type. You can write len and then the variable for which you want to check the length. In our case, it should be my tuple, and it gives that the length of this tuple is 7. As this is like we have packed integers into this, we can also see what is the max number in it. So write my tuple, it would give the max number, that's 40. And similar way you can check the min number as well in a tuple. That's done. One of the major differences between tuple and list is that tuples are immutable, whereas lists are mutable. Which means if you create tuple, you cannot change or modify them, but you can change and modify list once they have been created. Let's see that with an example. Right, let's go ahead and try and change this tuple. I will write my tuple. And let's say I want to change the element at index 0 and I write 40 or let's say 50, whatever, and I try and run it. And you can see we are getting the type error here saying that tuple object does not support item assignment, which means we cannot change the tuples once this has been created. If you want to change the tuple, what you have to do, and let's say I wanted to have 50 at location 0, you have to write tuple, the round brackets, and then I will write 50, and I want to keep the other values as it is. And let's just try and print that as well. Print my underscore tuple and run it. And you can see this has been changed. It's not changed, but it has been created as a new tuple. So if you want to change anything, you have to declare the whole tuple as a new tuple. Now that we have explored tuples in detail in this video and list in detail in our previous video, let's understand the key differences between tuples and list. Let's first understand how you can tell just by looking at a variable which variable is a list and which variable is a tuple, because both pack multiple values in a single variable. So how you can tell this variable is a tuple and this variable is a list? Very easy. If you have multiple values packed in a single variable enclosed in a round brackets, then that's a tuple. If you have a variable enclosed in a square brackets, then that's a list. Another major difference between tuple and list is that tuples are immutable, which means once you have created them, you cannot change them. So if in case you try and modify anything and you get a type error, I would suggest go back and check the type of that particular variable. And lists are mutable, which means you can change and modify the list once you have created them. Another difference is tuples are little faster than lists because of the immutability. The performance would be much faster for tuples. There has been always a question. Both tuple and list have the same purpose, that is storing multiple values inside a single variable in an ordered way. They have the index numbers. Then why do we have two different data types doing the same job? To answer that, if your data will change in future, you need to use the list. However, if your data are going to remain constant, you want to keep it fixed, then you need to choose tuple. That's one of the major differences between list and tuple, and that's why we have two different data types. Quickly recap what we have learned today. We started by understanding what tuples are and immutable sequence data types. We learned how to create tuples, including single value ones. We accessed elements from tuple using indexing and slicing. We also explored packing and unpacking in tuples. We also looked at some commonly used tuple methods or functions. And finally, we understood the key differences between the list and tuples. That's it for today, guys. If you like my content, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, happy coding.